Hello, we've got an extraordinary writer. Oh my goodness, in the chat today. If you want to join me, you're welcome. Just put a request and I'll join you because I would love to speak more about what you do. Your writing is just absolutely incredible. We just finished talking about a project that she is currently creating and has been in the works for a while. And I was really intrigued by her writing because it really speaks to the community of where we're at now. And even within Black history, I completely understand acknowledging and honoring and paying homage to those who have paved the way. But I also am giving a good eye to what our next history months will be acknowledging, because we're creating history right now. I don't know if you noticed, but what you are doing right now is building a future for the tomorrow. And so I was really impressed by SULMA's writing. It really resonated with me. I got you. We hopefully get to talk. Yay! Welcome, welcome, and welcome.
How you doing, sis?
I am good. I am so good. I am still on a high from earlier.
Yeah.
Really just...
We are too, for the record.
but that's how good writing and a good story gets you. As an actress, I'm always blessed to look at scripts that really just makes me play and allows me to really think of something different and something new. And your writing is really fresh and new. And I wanted to ask you, without talking about the project, obviously, I wanted to ask you about writing. Like what triggered you, what sparked that where you knew I'm supposed to be writing, this is what I'm supposed to do?
For me, it's as simple as love. Like I'm a Garifuna woman. I was born in Honduras, so I'm an Afro-Latina. And I say I'm Afro-Latina with pride because the Spanish of that land did not enslave my people. We fought alongside them against Spain during the against the British during the Central American and Spain War. And the British actually wanted the Garifuna people, in which they wanted us all dead, right, to fight with them. Like, how are you going to bring us to another country after annihilating pretty much all of our population and then expect us to fight with you? So my ancestors were so strategic, and by divine intervention, they were like, you know what? Okay, no, they brought us to this tierra. So what we're going to do is align ourselves with the Spanish, and the Spanish won. And that's how the Garifunas ended up living in Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, and Nicaragua. So that fighting spirit has always, I think, been inside me, and I didn't realize what exactly was inside of me until I learned my history, right? So just growing up as a young girl in Santa Fe, Colón, Honduras, I saw a community. We were isolated from, other indigenous groups in the country, but that was beautiful because we got to really commune with one another, talk to one another, bond over hair. And I remember all those things, right? So I authored the book Pelo Malo No Existe, Bad Hair Does Not Exist, around 7-8 years ago, actually. And it was to empower my daughters, because a caregiver whom we love to this day, appreciated, used the colloquial term pelo malo to describe my daughter's curly textured hair. And I responded from a place of love, right? I gave her proper terminologies like long and straight and afro, right? But I also wanted a tool of empowerment for my daughters, because what if I hadn't been there? How it have affected them? And I realized that there was no tool of empowerment of a book out in the market. So I wrote the book. It took me 5 minutes to write the book. It was like God was just like, here you go. Now write your response, right? I partnered with my best friend, Isidra Savio, who literally was the only illustrator I knew. And she said, I'm going to do all the illustrations, right? And when this book came out, it was so powerful. I mean, it's a children's picture book with like one-liners, right? But it has opened up the doors to other community members telling me their stories on how they dealt with this issue, how they felt about it. It even opened up a beautiful conversation between myself and the caregiver, and she expressed that her dad was an Afro-Latino from Puerto Rico, but he always used the term pelo malo, so it was colloquial for her. You know, her dad did not know that she was going to be a caregiver for hundreds of kids as a career, an entrepreneur. Right. So she opened up this beautiful conversation with me. And I think, again, because that was the time I saw the light, the path through love and making a difference. So I actually wrote this, co-wrote this script, co-creator of the script based on the stories in my own life with my family. Right. Yeah. So the characters are literally loosely based on, I have 2 daughters. My husband and I, the only thing that's missing, which we'll include later on, is our little doggy Sparkle, right? So we live in the South Bronx, but you were talking about entrepreneurship, and I heard all of these beautiful, beautiful stories, and I'm like, what if we continue to incorporate these stories and create the first Afro-Latino family sitcom in our nation? Because we've never had a Cosby Show. We have never had a Blackish, never in our nation. And from what I understand, it's never even been done like internationally.
Wow.
Right? So again, because I responded out of love, I think God really, he held down this space for us.
Yes.
At this time, right? And being a true believer in who he is and honoring his path and understanding that he believes we're masterpieces, right? We're his workmanship, right?
Yes.
Which means like we are all unique to his experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I'm just an observance of the world around me. I'm appreciative of humanity. I love my family. I love my community to the point where I grew up in the South Bronx, and my husband and I decided to invest in the South Bronx. So I used to rent an apartment in my mom's house. A couple of years later, we had enough money to purchase a house. So I said, Mommy, we would like to purchase a house, this house that we live in, from you. And my mom was like, no, I'll just give it to you. We'll sign over. I'm like, no, Mommy, you have sacrificed so much, gave me everything. It would be an honor to put this money in your hands.
Wow.
So that's how we became homeowners in the Hunts Point area of the South Bronx. Again, that story is going to be told.
That's
obviously
amazing.
Right. And then and I got to go back to entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
A couple of years later, we were looking for a bigger home.
Yes.
And we had some money saved, right? And one of my neighbors, Majora Carter, was basically like, hey, Sulma, we want to create a coffee shop here in Hunts Point. And I think it'll be good. I have a storage, and I said, what, Majora, I have a developer who's an Afro-Latino who's been wanting to do something in communities like ours.
Yes.
So I brought Joel Rivera in, a good friend of mine. And then I'm like, you know what? You need some coffee people, right? So I brought in the Birch guys, right? To make sure that we were able to sell like high quality coffee, because she wanted to do high quality coffee at prices the community can afford.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So a couple of years later, in came the Boogie Down Grind Cafe. So I am the local investor in the Boogie Down Grind Cafe here in Hunts Point. And it is actually a woman-owned cafe, and Afro-Latina is part of it, for sure. And we have been voted the best coffee shop in New York by Time Out Magazine. So
that's amazing.
I tell you that I am invested, and I believe in our story. I believe in the power of community. Like, I don't write about it. I have to live it in order to write about it.
Right.
Be proud of it in order to write about it. So like our job as a collective with my co-writer Victor Cruz, Link Blake, and my producers, Latina owned production company Freedom Studios, we just wanted to honor those stories of our friends and our families, right? I always share stuff on LinkedIn with friends, and I call it, I love it when my friends shine. We got to want to make that like a 15-minute episode, right? Like, my friends be shining, right? So I just, again, this is out of love. appreciation for my community, and I want them to know that I see them.
Right.
I see the beauty inside of them, and my job is to make sure that everybody around the world that does not look like us understands the human experience and love that we come with. And that is the story I have been honored to be given the blessing to tell.
Yes. So I want to ask you a question, if you would divulge me in this, because recently it's been a big story across social media with John Leguizamo. And he put it out there that for years, he would purposely hide from the sun because he didn't want to tan his skin, because it would deter Hollywood from hiring him as an actor. What do you feel is important about colorism within the Latin spectrum? Because we don't talk about it at all, and even those stories being exposed in Hollywood and on TV.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think everyone has their own personal journey. My personal journey was really understanding my ancestors, right? And understanding their sacrifice and their journey, right? And a lot of those ancestors did not have white skin. Let's keep it real, right? And my job and my journey, and thank God I realized this really early, is I don't want to hide my abuela. You know, like our community is I don't know at what point we felt that that it was okay to be empowered by the social standards that were not created for us, right? So I think it's going back to just honoring who you are. The spirit of fear was not put in us by our ancestors, and we have to just go back to that place and really think about, where did I get this from, and why did I think this, and why did I believe that it was okay to give that power over the abuela that I know I had, over the music that I listened to in my house, and the food that I eat, and the land that we cropped, right? So I think that I am just so grateful to understand my history. And I don't want to hide any part of it. And I think it's better late than ever. And the fact that he's vulnerable enough to even tell this story right now, he's getting somewhere. And I'm gonna commend that. He is getting somewhere.
Yeah. For me, I'm very guilty, and this is really kind of warring at my spirit, because a previous manager of mine told me to cut my last name because it's too confusing. My last name is Valle, and it's too confusing. So just use your first and your second name. And that's what I've been using all this time as an actress, because like he told me, if I used my name, I wouldn't get any roles. And that has been affecting me so much about going back to changing and my name back, because that is who I am. That's my blood. That's who I am. And so this is really, this is triggering.
There's a lot to that, but the more of us, and I knew this story was real because one of my mentors, right, he actually, I think in the 90s, he legally changed his name to sound more Anglo. He's a salesperson, right? And you'll notice from what we wrote, it's in that, right? But later on, he's like, why do I have to do that? Right? It took him years, and he finally rechanged it back to the name his mama gave him. But again, I think we need to just be patient with ourselves and understanding that the journey of unlearning and the journey of retrusting who we are doesn't have the same timing for everyone. And I totally get it. But when it does happen, if it does happen, it's for the right reasons. And if you could just like honor that within yourself, like that, it's what it is. And let me tell you, it's our turn and it's our time to shine. Like the stars are 100% aligned. You know, you have so much vocative in the patois of my Jamaican husband. You got vocative gal, you know, So it's just like, you know, when the time is right, the time is right. And when you make that decision, you know that you've done it with the process of authenticity and connecting. And you know what? My mentor just said something to me like so dope the other day. And he tells me, Sulma, yo siempre he sido valeverguista. Y ahora aún peor. Right? Which means like, seriously, whatever you think, that me vale verga.
Ariaga, I see you. I love you so much. Yes, it's a beautiful time to really express who we are and not hide who we are anymore. And every time I'm meeting more people, especially like before actors, they would be afraid to say that they were Panamanian. They would be afraid to say that they were from, they're Peruvian or anything. They would try to either say they were either Caucasian or they were Black. And now I'm finding so many different cultures, and they're wearing it proud. That is so important.
It's something real. I think it's something very spiritual. Actually, I think that our ancestors have finally found each other and are holding hands, right? And they're making, I guess, the path light up for us for right now, right? And I think I remember going to an event at the Capitol, Albany, and one of before the white elected officials got there, one of the Black elected officials came in, right? Because we were celebrating Garifuna American Heritage Month, and he ran inside before all the other white elected officials, and he goes, "Whatever you do not give them your spirituality. You understand? Whatever you do not give them your spirituality." And I hold on to that. Like, I hold on to that. So, you know, not a lot of people understand what it is to pay homage to our ancestors, but we do. And that is our spirituality. And I will not let anyone have that. We need it for such a time as this. You know, Brian Flores from the NFL, who's suing the NFL right now, he's a Garifuna man, right? Hondureño, raised in Brooklyn, you know, and whenever he has time to give back, he goes back home and he gives back to his Garifuna community. Right. And what he wrote about, he understands he's risking his livelihood. He's risking his money that supports his family. But this fight is worth it. Right. And I think like we're all in it's incredible how much we're all in the same space. And that right there, that's a different type of power. And no one can take that. It's too late. No one can take it.
No one can take it. I think it's really important to tell the story. And I think a lot of us, it is like this awakening. It's like we're all awakening because we're learning our voices again. And how powerful our voices. And we're saying we are not putting our spirituality down. We're not leaving it at the table. We're not leaving it at home. We're bringing it with us and we are making it happen.
Yeah. Even Oprah said, it's like she used to be afraid to go out into, you know, to go into meetings with people who didn't look like her, I think. And until she realized that she was never alone. She was always with her ancestors. Right. And it's like, that should give us power. We are not alone. We never been. It felt that way. But once you know your history, you understand that you have never been alone.
Never been alone. And tell us, I see you, Mrs. Hines, talk about the Disney movie Encanto, how it's so inspiring of the stories and the representation of Afro-Latinos in this movie. And this is another movie that John Leguizamo was a part of as well. But it is so important to tell stories. So even when writing your initial story for your daughters, which has got to be the cutest little thing ever that you did that in order for them. You said you wrote it in such a short amount of time. And I'm like, so it just poured out of you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to date my age, you know, because black don't crack and brown don't frown, right? But one of my favorite movies on earth is the first Matrix. So when Neo finally understood who he was and everything just started like flowing, I was in that zone. and my hands were faster than even my mind, than my spirit. And my husband, who kind of sort of understands Spanish, I read it to him in Spanish because it was literally taken out of me in Spanish first. And he was like, I think you got something there, babe. So like, it wasn't even a conversation of someone who had limited Spanish. It was spirit to spirit.
Yeah.
So it just took on a whole different, dimension. And I don't know why I feel very comfortable talking to you about spirit to spirit. It doesn't come out all the time, but today it is. I feel like I'm talking to someone who gets it and who understands.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So so this is how we're doing, and this is what we're going to continue to do it. This is the path that I am aligned with, and I will continue to honor it. I appreciate you so much for opening up this conversation, and honored to be with you. Right? Thank you for letting me in.
Oh no, this is the start of a very long relationship. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you got so many things to do, but
I know I'm trying to drink some wine and go to bed. I gotta what do I have to do tomorrow? I think it's an interview. Who do I have to interview with? Is it Univision or Telemundo? One of them. I hope they're not on, because I'll just, I'll go over my notes at like 5 a.m. But but it's Black History Month, so boxes got to be checked, right?
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me today, and really encouraging authors and actors and storytellers to keep telling your story. It is just amazing what you are doing. I'm very honored to know you and to have met you. And you've got a really special work. You've got a really special work that's birthing out of you.
Oh, amen. Amen. Thank you. They say it takes 9 months, right? It took like 9 years now.
That's okay. Time collapses.
An elephant.
It's like time collapses. You think you go through all of that, but as soon as it's manifest, you already forget the labor pains.
Yeah.
Time collapses immediately. And that's what's happening right now. And you're going to see all of this manifesting.
Amen. I receive. Love you lots. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Janelle Simone, founder of Shop Bob, and I want to interview you. That's right, you. If you are a business owner, a founder, or even an industry expert, I want you on Shop Bob Live. We want to know more about what you do, the why behind what you do, and of course, to promote your services. So make sure you follow Shop Bob for more information, and I'll get with you soon.